Okay, can people see and hear us now? We are live. Welcome, everyone. I'm Charge and Die. You could call me Noelle. That's my real life name, but you could also call me Charge. I respond to both now at this point. I'm a professional scare actor, if you don't know who I am. I tell Scareactor Stories as my main bit of content on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all the things. And then during all this mess, I thought it'd be fun to interview fellow scare actors so that they get a chance to tell their stories. I have a special guest with me tonight. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey guys, I'm Llenelle. I absolutely love scare acting, and I've been working at Universal with all these lovely people that you've seen the past couple weeks before the mess, and can't wait till the mess is over to get scaring some more people.
Oh, yay! Hopefully, we could do that this year. That would be nice. I always tell people scare acting is my therapy, and I've been without therapy for so long. I just want to scare.
So
Scare and get out.
heartbroken.
All right, so first question I have for you, Llenelle. How did you get started in scare acting?
Okay, so I grew up in theater my whole life. Like I loved theater. I wanted to go to Broadway and be a Broadway star. So I ended up changing that a little bit, coming to California, and found myself without a job for a while. And I saw a post for like a seasonal job at Universal scaring. And I actually, before this, was horrified of any type of haunt, any haunted house. I was so scared. I had a horrible experience when I was 16. So I was like very apprehensive about starting. But I was like, this girl needs to eat. I need money. We got to figure this out. So I'm scaring people. And to my surprise, it was the most fun job I've ever had. And it's literally just the thing I look forward to every single year. I would do it if I didn't get paid to do it. It's so fun.
Don't say that
But
to
I didn't see
them, though,
myself.
because they will definitely not pay you. No, not. There's unions involved, but still.
Yeah, cut that part. Cut that part.
Edit that out. But awesome. So basically, you just needed the money. You saw a post, you went for it, and no regrets. Awesome. What's your favorite part about scaring? What makes it so fun for you?
So my favorite, I think, part about scaring is honestly so I am like 5 foot tall, right? And it just feels amazing to be able to knock someone on the ground without touching them. That's like 6'5". And like when those people fly across the room, like I don't know why, but I feel like very powerful. And it's just so much fun. And it's so great to just feel the reactions of people and to actually like put acting into it. Because a lot of people don't realize that like you're not just, if you just pop out around a corner, like they're not going to be as afraid as if like you're going for their neck, you're giving them some eye contact, you know.
We froze a little bit. Oopsie poopsie. Sorry, guys. We're here. We're still here. But yeah, absolutely. It is very empowering. I definitely agree with that. And it's definitely more than just a pop out and scare. There's definitely acting to scare acting, which a lot of people don't know. In fact, the most common question I get from people is, what is scare acting? They know it exists. Because if you say, hey, you ever been to a haunt or a haunted house and like a person popped out at you, that's a scare actor. But they never think that we're people and we have a job to do that. Like there are people that do this. Like no one ever thinks of
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Yeah. So did it help you to be a scare actor to not be so afraid of going through haunts, or are you still pretty scared going through haunts?
So, I go through them. I go through all of them as many times as I can. I have a bit of a problem with the chainsaw brigade still. I love it, and I love going. I always make sure that I'm like, please, supervisors, like anything I will do as long as I can go on my like visits that night, because those people knock me on the floor. Like I don't remember who it was, or if I should say any specifics, but last year someone knocked me on, not last year, the year before that, someone knocked me on the ground, like, and I was trying to like crawl out of the park, and I was just like in a fetal position.
Oh no.
I would say I'm a very fun person to have go through the house, and I feel like everybody should feel great about themselves because like you will scare me. But instead of being like afraid, like when I was 16, the experience I had, like I passed out because I was so terrified and I didn't know what to do. And this man came up with this chainsaw and he kept getting closer and closer. And I stood there and I was like, and then I just fell over. So I was horrified. Now I still fall on the ground. I will give you that lots of times. But I don't pass out anymore, and I enjoy it going through.
Good. That's the important thing. Is like you could get scared going through a haunt. That's the whole point. Like it's fun to be scared in a controlled setting. Like they're not allowed to touch you. You're not in any danger, depending on what haunt you go through. Because if you like sign your soul away to some of those haunts, like they are allowed to torture you, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't think I would do that.
Oh god, no, I don't think I have the personality to be able to do that successfully. I can't torture people. I adopt kids when I scare. I am not going to torture someone. Yeah. Like I can't do that. But yeah, that's great that you could have fun with it. That's the important thing. I definitely get scared going through haunts myself. I start off not being so scared because after scaring for so long, you get desensitized and you just know where the pop-outs are going to happen. You could go in and just identify, that's a door that's going to open. That's another one that's going to pop out. Cool. But after a while, like after pretend, it's a fake it till you make it mentality. If you pretend long enough, then they'll actually start to scare you, and that's what happens with me all the time. I'll like pretend scream for a while. After a few minutes, actually scream for my goddamn life. And going back to chainsaw, it's funny you mentioned that because I wasn't knocked on the ground, but I was scared by a chainsaw because in 2019, I took the year off because I had never been a guest for Halloween Horror Nights, and I wanted to experience it as a guest, so I didn't even bother auditioning. I'm like, I need to take a year off. I want to enjoy my holiday. I'd been doing Horror Nights ever since I moved to LA, and I hadn't taken a year off, so I'm like, I never went there as a guest. This is my year. And then, of course, because of the mess, I was forced to take another year off anyway, so yay, perfect timing. But I went through with my boyfriend who was working. He works light tech, so he'll work in some of the mazes and stuff. So he was working, and we went through one night just to go through. I go to the lower lot, and there's a bunch of chainsaws there. And when you go through as a scare actor after working with these people for so long, they know you. But you don't know who they are because they're in the masks. You still don't know. You could kind of guess by their like body language and their height and you know and all that stuff. But so many people look the same, like they have the same build. That's why they're cast in where they are. So I'm going through and it's like I think this is so and so, but I'm unsure. And like some of them wave and I'm like, I don't know who you are. And then they ganged up on me. I was holding hands with my boyfriend and they surround us. And I was like, this is a thing. This is the thing that's happening right now. And one of them, like the smallest of them, went in between me and my boyfriend, separating us and started chasing me around the lower lot. I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, stop it. Oh my God. And I look over at my boyfriend. I'm like, help. And he's like, I got nothing. Bye. Like,
You were sacrificed.
I was sacrificed, but it was funny, and I
said
still
they want you.
No idea who it was.
Maybe they can tell you.
I tried messaging people afterwards, but they won't tell me. They're like, I'm not telling. Maybe it was me. Maybe it wasn't. I have no idea what you're talking about, or maybe I do. Like, I just want to know. And I'll go through, and I'll when you go through. You're not allowed to touch the guests, and the guests are not allowed to touch you. Of course, we follow the rules. However, if we are fellow scare actors going through and we are friends in real life, we're not going to tell a supervisor that we were touched. Like, it's okay. You know, just a little pat on the head, a boop on the nose here and there is totally fine, especially if we know who it is doing it. I would go through a maze, and some people would, like, pat my head going through, and I'd go, do I know you? And I'd go, yeah. And I'm like, great, message me later. I have no idea who you are. And just keep going. No one told me who they were. I still don't know to this day. Who the hell patted my head? I don't know. Hi, Bugkill. Welcome to the stream. By the way, anyone who's watching right now, feel free to ask any questions about scare acting or just in general. Get to know Llenelle a little bit. But we're just chatting about scare acting and chilling. So, yeah, just feel free to chat with us. Ask your questions. We'll answer them. We are professionals, so we should know the answers. Should being the key word there. All right, Llenelle, do you have any fun stories to share from your time scaring? Do you want to reveal where you were scaring and like what characters you were, or do you want to keep that to yourself?
Yeah, no, I definitely would like to do that.
Okay, go. Well, give us some context.
I think you could kind of tell. I think you can kind of tell. This was my 2019 maze.
For those who don't
which
know,
was
that's
like
us.
the most fun.
Mm-hmm.
What's that? Oh yeah, us. And it was really, really cool. And then the year before that, I was in Blumhouse. That was my first year as Blumhouse girl. You can actually see me on the Universal Twitter page. There's a little girl in a dress, and she goes like this, and that's me.
How far do I have to
Yeah, it's a
scroll
very
down?
terrifying face, though.
Well, good.
Yeah, I was really excited. I was like, is that me or Steph? And then Steph was like, you do that weird wave. It's you. And I was like, yeah, you're right. That is me.
I love those like little identifiers. It's like when people go through, it's like, was it me or my partner? And like in 2017, our distinction was the shoes we were wearing, because I wore white shoes and my partner wore black shoes, and also just mannerisms. Because like I was doing very jerky motions and she was very fluid. So when people go through, I'm like,
yeah,
were they wearing these shoes or these shoes? What were they doing? So the creepy wave, I love that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I definitely didn't know. I think they were doing promotions or something that day. So they just came through with the camera, because I know that Steph was on for the Ellen walkthrough.
Ooh, okay.
So I was like, it's probably not me. And then I was like, it's me! Oh, Twitter, I'm a GIF.
Did you retweet it? Were you allowed to? You can't.
What's that?
Did you retweet it?
Obviously, I did retweet it.
You can't say like, that's me during a run, but you could say like, look at this beauty. Wink.
I know, yeah, I tweeted it and I was like, who's that? And then after I was like, that's me!
Whoa!
Yeah, because like, it doesn't matter anymore.
Awesome. So
stories.
What movie was Blumhouse like promoting? What movie is the girl from?
It was like a little combo situation going on. It was like Truth or Dare, Unfriended, and then one that they made up. So like, you know, the character at the beginning of the Blumhouse films that walks, the like girl who walks in the dress and her head's down and she's like,
I don't.
It's like the intro to all the Blumhouse films.
Oh,
so
okay,
like,
gotcha.
It's literally like the introduction, and they played this like song that was like, let's all go to the lobby. It was like kind of like I don't know why they didn't do it at the beginning. I think because it was the like scariest. And then there was like some devils after that. I don't know. I don't really know what they were, but it was mostly Truth or Dare and Unfriended.
Okay, gotcha. I don't remember going through that maze. Did I go through that maze? Was it a maze?
We actually, so like for Blumhouse maze, that maze did really good. It was like number 2 and 3 most weeks. And I was like, okay, Blumhouse, like no one even cares about those. I mean, okay, some people care about those films. I'm not saying that they're bad films, but they're not really the films that I would necessarily watch. Like I would more so watch like Myers or Us or something like that. They're a bit young for me, I think, you know? Like, I don't know. But they're not as scary. So I was like, how are they going to make this maze good? And they did it.
By hiring us, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
We can make it scary.
Exactly. It was a horrifying room. And the whole maze was actually like very well done. I remember that year, my friend Michael, he was a living statue. Mm-hmm. And one of those potato bugs flew into his costume during like the set, and he like didn't know, and he comes off of set and he's like in the back, and he had to get undressed by a dresser because he had this like big head on and then a robe and then like the like platform shoes, and he knew there was a potato bug in his costume, but he like was trying to flap it out, and he had like this big head, and he was like, Oh man, he was struggling, and I had never seen a potato bug. I had just moved out here, and I
Mm,
thought they meant like a roly poly oly. And I was
mm,
like, why is everybody so scared of a roly poly oly? Like, that doesn't even make sense. Then I go over there and see a demon,
yep.
like an actual demon. I think it's interesting because the characters were all horrified of this bug, but no one could hear us screaming back there because everybody was screaming right behind us, so it was
It
fine.
just added to the ambiance. It was fine.
Yeah, yeah, but I was like, well, it was whenever it. Did you work the 2018?
I did. I was on New York Street. I was the trick or
Okay,
treat
cool.
scare zone. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I loved Trick or Treat. It was so good. It was so
I was the
creepy.
big wolf in the blue dress going
Oh my
around.
gosh, that's literally the role that everybody wanted.
Really? Oh
Oh,
God.
I mean, if you're talking, I wanted to be in Trick or Treat originally, but like, I had such a good time with the Blumhouse family. I'm really
Cool.
glad that because that's one of my favorite movies they were doing. But I'm really happy I ended up where I was,
Mm.
even if it wasn't what I initially like wanted.
Yeah, that's good that you like made it your own and you had fun with it too. It was
It
fun
was
working
so
a scare
fun.
zone. I get all my stories from that scare zone because so many interesting people came through. And working a scare zone, you have so much freedom and stupid shit always happens. I gotta say, just like such stupid
I have
stuff.
never done a scare zone. Um, I really had a lot of fun in the mazes and everything. And I wanted to do chainsaw this for the 2020. That was like my plan. I got a couple referrals and I was like super ready. I almost bought a chainsaw to practice with at my house. And my boyfriend was like, "Can you please not buy a chainsaw and like run around the yard?" I was like, "Well, I'll take the thing off." He's like, "No, you're not buying a chainsaw." I was like, "I have to
But I
practice. They
wanna.
have choreography." Like,
Oh yeah, I mean choreography in what sense? Like I know they have
well,
the triangle that they gotta follow, but other
and
than
they have like the saws that are in the park, and then they have the saws that are also get to do the brigade. And
mm-hmm.
I was like, well, I have to practice so that I can do the brigade because that looks awesome. Like, I want to do that.
I'm so
um
intimidated, but it looks so fun. I'm like, I know I'm gonna bump into people because it's so chaotic, but I really
yeah,
want to. We'll do it together. We'll do chainsaws together.
we
Take it
should. That
back.
would be so
They
fun.
need more girls
I think
anyway,
that they
right?
could use more girls in saw, that can actually lift the saw.
Mm-hmm. This is not
It
intimidating right now. I'm working out again. I used to
looks
have some.
great.
Thank you. I just started working out. I used to have a little something something, and then the mess happened. Now I'm starting to work out again. I want to do
Our
like
thumbs have gotten strong with video games, so.
there you go. Oh, we need finger strength for sure, and we need to get wrapped for sure. Do you have any like safety advice to give people starting scaring?
Hmm. Well, I think that the best advice is, I mean, it depends on, so the first year I had a mask and the second year I was my face.
Mm.
So it really just like wearing more masks now is very helpful in the regard that like for like spatially being aware. But with the mask on, it's really difficult, especially like my eye holes were, so there was eyes on my mask that were white and there were slits like under the eye hole. So like I was like trying to look like this when I was walking out. But I think the best thing to do is kind of when you go in there, know that you have to adjust and don't like, when you're going in the maze and it's still light outside and you go in there and I can't see anything. Like there are times I was like, there was people in there. Like I can't, like it takes me like 10 minutes to adjust. So I would say like, if you can't see anything, you don't know if there's people, just kind of like walk around in there and be creepy until your eyes adjust. Because if you try to go for it, you're going to like touch someone and then you're going to get in trouble and nobody wants that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Another safety thing I would say, like for your own safety, because that's something that I run into a lot, is just be very, very aware of the people who look like they may be a little intoxicated or look like maybe they are a little bit not enjoying themselves. And I'd say don't egg them on because you don't want to get punched in the face. Like I've got punched in the face. I was punched in the face 7 times the first year. Seven
What?
times. This then the next year, I'm skipping 2020. So if I say last year, I mean 2019.
Okay, yeah, the
But
last year we were able to work. There you
yeah,
go.
the last real year.
The last real year.
Um,
2020 doesn't
and
count.
then I think I got punched 3 or 4 times even, and that was crazy to me because like, I mean, I know I had a mask on the first year, so I don't really look like a real person, so it's easier to punch a mask. But 3 or 4 guys punched me in the face, and my face looked like this. Like I was tethered in the Hands Across America room, so they literally just made me look tired, like, and I didn't have eyebrows. They were like white eyebrows, and then I looked sleepy, and some people just punched me in the face. So I would say just be aware of that, and if it looks like someone's gonna punch you, they're probably gonna punch you, and you should probably like, I mean, just don't scare them. Even turn your back. Like, if
Hmm.
they're not gonna enjoy the show, then don't give them a show. They don't deserve your performance.
That's a great way to put it. Like, yeah, we are performing. If they are giving you any trouble, they don't deserve your performance. Sorry, not sorry. I'm so sorry that you got punched so many times. Like, even one time is too
I
many
know.
times, but
What is happening?
god damn, like that really sucks.
Well,
I'm
the first
sorry.
year was a pop out kind of thing. So it wasn't a pop out. I walked around, but I had a good like popping out of this like door. So it really did get people. Like, I mean, I never touched anyone, but I went up to people like I was going to choke them, and I got pretty close.
Hmm.
So it makes a lot more sense to get punched. But I really like don't understand how I got punched 4 times last year. Like, or not, you know what I mean? It just doesn't make any sense. Like, it was my face.
Right. Like, do you feel like it was fight or flight instinct, or did they hesitate and just take the action to be an ass?
Um, Most of the time it was them being an ass.
Mm.
Because the people that did it on accident, I don't count them as punching me. You can always really tell because they'll do something like the person who gave me a black eye this like in 2019. I didn't report them because it was a complete accident. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and you can tell, like, you can see what the people are doing in there. Once your eyes have adjusted, you can see what's happening. um and you just really have to kind of make that judgment on your own,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes like there are reactions you shouldn't come if you have those reactions all the time. But I understand that mistakes happen. Like, I could bump into someone or something, and I wouldn't want them to run out and call, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I understand mistakes happen, but like there are a lot of people that are maliciously like, and honestly it was mostly all like men with like hats on backwards and stuff, like, just like, it was a bunch of white guys. I'm gonna be honest with you. Every single
Okay.
person that punched me was a white guy with like arm weights and a cut off t-shirt. He's real drunk and like puts his arm around his girl like after he punches you, you know what I mean?
Damn. I hate those people so much. And you can usually tell from a distance what kind of person. If you've been scaring long enough, you can get a vibe from someone. Like, I don't want to call it profiling, but in a way it is, but it's more like a vibe profiling where you could tell by the way that they're walking or handling their friends that they're with, the way they're talking, the way they're looking around. Like, is this person gonna hit me? Is this person gonna be a problem? Approach with caution. And it's purely for your own safety more than anything. Maximus asks, Maximus DB21, I'll say the full name. Are you guys allowed to retaliate at all if they hit you? That's a good
No.
question. No, we're not.
No.
No, we take it like a
So,
champ. No.
no. um But so like the best thing to do, unfortunately for me, both years I was in the final room. Um, and like you're supposed to, leave the maze, find your supervisor, and let them know what happened. They'll find them at the exit of the maze, and they will kick them out of the park most of the time. And they basically, I mean, they don't get punched in the face, but they lose all of their money for that night.
Mm.
And unfortunately, you can't catch everyone all the time, especially when you're in the final room. By the time you get out and get security, it's just too late. They do put, like, if you can see what they look like, they'll put, like, a a thing out into the park and be like, we're looking for this guy with a hat and this, and I'm like, okay, that's everyone. But it's mostly just also so that like they're probably gonna do it again if they did it once, like if it wasn't an accident. So they'll probably end up getting caught. And it does suck that there are people like that. But for the thousands and thousands of people that we're able to entertain, really like 7 people, that's a lot of people to punch you. But if you think about like every night, how many people do we have come through? Like 20,000 people. That's 7 rotten eggs and like I don't know, I'm not good at math, but like, I mean, it's pretty good. And hey, I'm pretty scary, so you can't really blame them. They're you know?
I mean, yeah, you can. They shouldn't be doing that. But I know what you mean. Like,
Yeah.
the way
I mean, yeah,
Sorry, go on.
there's crappy people in every job that you're going to work, I think. And unfortunately, with ours, you know, people feel like you're not really people because you're in a costume and they're able to do that. They're having fun, they're showing off, they're drunk, whatever. But no, we're not allowed to punch anyone.
Nope, not allowed to touch or anything like that. I actually have a good example story of how someone didn't see me as a human being, and that's why they like messed with me. Like, this guy came through and he groped me. And this isn't the groping banned for life story that I have on my YouTube and my TikTok. This was I don't know if you know this, but I got a guy banned for life. Supposedly.
Good.
Supposedly,
Yeah.
but that was a whole other thing. But this guy comes through, and I'm the wolf in Trick or Treat Scare Zone, and he wanted to know if I was this female, so he did one of those, and I did not appreciate that. So I was like following him a little bit to what you do when you get harassed, when you get touched, when you get hit. Is you do your best to identify every single little thing about the person, especially shoes. Fun fact, shoes are the toughest things for them to change, because they could take off a jacket, they could take off a hat, they could change their shirt even, like their pants even, but shoes, that's a tough thing to change. So I was following him from a distance to identify top to bottom, what does this guy look like, around what time did this happen, stuff like that. I go to the nearest security and go, that guy over there, and they get him because apparently he was doing it to other girls too. Yay. So I get called backstage, and the head of security, she goes, is this the guy? And I take my mask off, my big head off, and I go, yep, that's him. And as soon, like, before, as I was approaching this situation, the guy had this vibe of just like, oh my god, how dare you ruin my night, blah, 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 blah. Like, how dare you? Like, what did I do? I didn't do anything wrong kind of guy. But as soon as I took my mask off and he saw who, like, what I looked like, his whole demeanor changed. He was just like, oh. I go, yeah, look me in the eyes. I'm a person. He's like, I'm so sorry. Yeah, you should be. And then security asks, like, what do you want to do with him? You want to press charges or something? I'm like, press charges for what? Harassment? Nothing's going to happen with that. So, no. I think he's learned his lesson, but let me just say, we're people, not monsters like we're portraying. We are real people. Be mindful of that. Don't touch us. Don't mess with us. We're just trying to do our job, man. And he actually did change. He was just like, I'm really sorry I did that. And I was like, yeah, don't do it again. If he does it again, kick him out of the park. And I didn't hear anything after that. But I use that as a great example of they just don't make that connection sometimes, that we are people. We're just dressed like monsters. Why are you hitting us? Why are you messing with us?
Right?
God.
That's ridiculous.
It's so bad. Yes,
we had a
Maximus,
lot of
so
problems with.
Thank you.
We had a lot of problems with touching in us in the final room specifically, like because it was a room of like mannequins, you know, and the Hands Across America, and there was 4 actors in the room, which was kind of a lot. And there was like a circle of fake people, so you know the people would poke all the mannequins or the people and stuff like that. So Really, you can always like think of ways to go around that, be creative and stuff though. Like, when if you see them poking other mannequins, as soon as they're about to poke you, bring your scissors up in their face. And like, if they touch your scissors, they were about to touch you. So like, you know what I mean? I mean, somebody was doing that and they were like, it touched me. And I was like, you were about to touch me. I just did my action. I did hit you with my hand, but that's because you were about to poke me. Yes,
Yep.
I'm to answer your question. Yeah, I'm real.
Yes, I'm a real person. I act like a mannequin to get the mannequin scare. It worked. Go away now. When I was
I'd be trying to be like looking like a mannequin because their mouths were kind of open, so I'd be in there like,
mm,
like trying to like look like them.
did have you heard of my arrow kill story? Because
I
I was
don't.
okay. So this is 2017. I was grindstone kill in the Friday the 13th part of Terror Tram. So
Yeah.
literally, I would just sit there, lean forward, my face over and over again. My friend Rachel was Arrow Kill, and I interviewed her before if you guys are interested in seeing that interview too. But my friend Rachel was Arrow Kill, so there were two dummies with arrows in them up against a bullseye, and then there was Arrow Kill, which is the person up against the third bullseye, and then they would pop out and scare. So she
Yeah.
did that, but it was hurting her back, and I wanted to do something a little more in people's faces. So we switched for a night,
Yeah.
and she got a break doing grindstone, and I got to be arrow kill. So what I did was I would obviously pretend to be dead, mimicking the other dummies, right? And then when enough people, you always scare the middle, by the way, for those watching, scare the middle. So I wait for a couple people to go by, middle hits, I pop out, like, and then I go back against the bullseye and then pretend to die again until a new group comes in, and then I do it again, right? This one person comes through with a camcorder. It's so funny, I love telling you a story. Comes in with a camcorder recording everything. They go up to the first dummy, goes, oh my god, that one's so fake. Goes to the second dummy, that one's so fake. Goes up to my face, an inch from my face is like, especially this one's the fakest. Cue me grabbing my knife. I had a knife, by the way. I go like, like that into the camera.
That's
And I'm
amazing.
like, oh shit! And they full on fell to the ground and crawled away, screaming without their camcorder, and their friend, who was also freaking out, just like, it was like a Scooby-Doo trying to run thing, like, like grabbed the camcorder and like ran. I was like, okay. I'm glad we established I'm real. Oh, no. What they said is like, oh shit, that one's real, as they jump to the ground. That's the famous line that everyone quotes me on. It was like, oh shit, that one's real.
So funny.
And he falls to the ground and crawls away. It was just so funny. It's like, yeah, we're real. You don't know if we're fake or real, so don't touch us. We'll let you know.
Yeah, a lot of it has to do with the lighting in there. They work really hard to make it look like that. So like, I don't know. That's crazy that they were that close to your face and they couldn't tell.
I know. I was
Dummies.
doing the breathing trick. I don't know if you know this, but you could train yourself to take such shallow breaths without hyperventilating that it doesn't look like you're breathing at all. Some people just hold their breath for a really long time. I don't like to do that because I like breathe through my nose slowly and you just stay really still. I think they were very built up. They had a lot of adrenaline going on already, I think. So they were just like, that one's fake, that one's fake, that one's really fake. Oh shit, that one's real. Yeah, learn your lesson.
Why would they think they were all fake?
Yeah, come on. Maybe they don't know how to haunt properly, but if you see 3 mannequins in a row in a room alone, one of them's real, you guys. One of them's definitely real.
Right?
Good luck
Unless
guessing which one.
someone's like got punched.
Oh yeah, like just punch each one and make sure. Please don't. Because first off, you might punch a human, and we hurt. I bruise like a peach. Don't mess with that, please.
Yeah.
It hurts to be hit. Secondly, even if it is fake, you're harming a prop. Don't mess with our props.
Yeah.
What if you punch the heads off all the mannequins we're working with, and then we're in the room alone? What are we gonna do? Stop it. Just don't touch shit. Don't touch
Right.
Oh my god. What have been some of the best reactions you ever got from scaring?
So I have a little bit of a different technique. My favorite thing to do is I go for the tallest guy in the room
Mm-hmm.
almost every time. Not
Mm.
every time, but almost every time. And if they're in the middle, that's pretty good. It really just depends where you are, too. Like, I was behind a wall, was my favorite spot. We alternated in my room, but I was behind this wall. So there was a scare, like, this way in front of me. They, like, popped out that way, and then they would keep walking, and everyone was lined up, like, in a semicircle, but I was on the opposite wall right next to the door. So as soon as they were scared on this side, I was able to, they'd keep walking, and then I could just turn the corner and they wouldn't expect me to be there. So that was my favorite spot this year. The other ones were kind of hard because you had to do the breathing trick like most of the time. You're just like standing there trying not to move. Behind the wall, they can't even see you. So like you're standing there like I'm about to get you. But we didn't have any hides, so that was a little bit difficult.
Mm.
Just being in the room the whole time. Um, but I think I got a lot of really good scares in that specific room. And the one that I can remember, like very, very specifically, this man, like he was a very, very, very tall man. And he just got scared by the first person in our room. And he was kind of laughing at himself with his friends. Um, and he didn't know I was behind him at all. And I was right behind him, and his friends saw me, but he wasn't turning around. And I was like, I'm not moving. So I had my little scissors like this, holding him up, and I'm like right behind his head. And they're like, dude. And he turns around, and I was like, "Ah." And then this man flew. This man flew across the room, like feet off the floor, and he like landed on another mannequin. He pushed me, but it was an accident. Like he was like, whoa, and then he like I never seen a guy fly so high off the floor. I actually like was like, can we please go watch this footage? Oh my god, I didn't know men could fly. Um, I'd say that was like my favorite scare. Um, and then obviously it was very memorable. I got to be in the maze when Jordan Peele came through,
Ooh.
so that was really
Oh,
cool
yes.
and super fun. I wasn't in my favorite spot, but I was the final scare of the maze, so it was still good. And I think so. There was like kind of we actually cut it to three people eventually. We had four in the room, and they were like, "That's too many people. Like, let's cut it to three." Um, so there was a lot of. It was really fun. You could play off of everyone in the room, and like there was no cameras. Obviously, you're in the room the whole time. So the person in this corner could see the feet coming. So you'd be like waiting, dancing around, in the room, and then they'd be like, "All right, we had like a cue for everyone." So like every time someone was coming in, we'd be like, and then we just like go, and then like we knew to stand still. So like we just kind of told each other like they're coming. Um, and that was a really good way to be able to kind of bounce them. We were trying to bounce them like from scare to scare.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes in that wall spot, you could get one more scare at the end, even like when they're going out the door because you're right next to both. Um, and then in Blumhouse, oh man, that was so long ago. Ooh. Blumhouse, um, hmm, it's a difficult one. It's just been like definitely quite some time. I did a little switch in Blumhouse though, and I remember a really specific scare. One of my friends was having trouble with their back, and they were this girl who had a curling iron shoved down their throat, and they were murdered. So like laying in this chair, and they definitely got a lot of crap from people that would come through the maze. Like it looks like you're doing something else like the whole time.
Mm.
So they got like a lot of crap. But I got a really, really good scare with that one because someone was making fun of me for having like the curling iron or whatever in my mouth. And there was a scare behind me. Like I was the distraction, and then there was a scare. I just did it for one night.
Mm.
But this person was making fun of me so much, and I think that the person in there knew that I was going to do it, and I was like, no, oh no, sir. So like he's about to get me, he's about to like walk past me, and I had it in my mouth, and I like walked up, and I kind of just like looked at him, and I like reached out for him, and then he was like, what, and then the person like came out like right behind me, and this guy ran out of the maze like
Yes.
the other way. And I don't know where he went. He never came back in the room. I have no idea where this guy went. And I don't even know who was scaring behind me. It was one of the, there was like 3 different spots for this character. So they alternated. So I have no idea who did that, but we teamed up so good on that. Like,
I love
I was
that.
just like, kind of like, help me, help me, help me. And this guy was being a total like jerk. He was just like sucking on that. And I was just like, I'm just going to keep distracting you so good. And I didn't think it would work that well at all. And then there was one time, I don't know in our maze who made this happen, but someone peed their pants. And you could definitely, I don't know what room it was in, but I would say that that was probably one of the best scares just because I'm like, how? And they walked through the whole maze. We had to shut down the maze. Actually, I think, no, it was a little bit more than pee, and we had to shut down our maze because there was fecal matter throughout it. They let it run down their leg, and they went like, they shook out their pants and like dropped their turds in our maze. That's what happened. I remember now. And it was really bizarre. I think that they actually may have done it in Holidays in Hell and then just kept walking through mazes.
What? Ew!
Yeah, I'm pretty positive because they had to shut down Holidays in Hell too because they found poop there too.
Oh,
like
I mean, good job whoever scared that person to make them do that, but ew!
I think it was Lumberjack.
Oh. Yeah.
As Cupid.
Oh, that makes sense. Oh.
I think it was Lumberjack as Cupid, which does make total sense.
I want to ask him if that was him.
I'm pretty sure it was, but I'm very surprised that they walked through our whole maze with like...
Hey, they paid for a ticket. They're gonna go through. People are so stubborn.
We sell pants at the park. Like, change. Maybe ew, or at least like go take care of it in the bathroom. Like, don't just like let it roll out your pants and continue going. What the?
Right? Mm-mm. That's so gross.
What?
I wonder if that's happened to them before. And they're just kind of used to it now. It's like, well...
They're like, oh, I know what to do.
I'll just finish this maze, go take care of it in the bathroom, and then go through another maze.
Really hope that's not their life.
I really hope not, too, but we never know. People are weird sometimes. Like, oh, gross. If someone ever fell or made a mess or spilled their beer or anything in our zone in 2018, the zombie kids would form a circle around it and just start screaming at it.
That's incredible.
Like, the most common thing was like spilt popcorn or something. Like, if someone spilled popcorn, it would start off with Scare Zone Rob. Rob would go in and just go, ah! And look over at other zombie kids, and the other zombie kids, so like, they know. So then they start joining in and just go, until someone came and cleaned it up.
The Scare Zone sounds so fun.
It was really fun. There was this really awkward time, though, when improv didn't work. So the best part of scare acting, in my opinion, is when you were just in tune with your fellow scare actors and you ping pong ball like people across each other. You know what I mean? Like, I scare them here, and then they go over there and get scared again, and it works so beautifully. But then there are times when you try your best and something just doesn't go right. One of those things was in our zone, there was an understanding that the zombie kids were scared of the wolves who were scared of Chainsaw. Right? So we had a pool person in Chainsaw in one of the chainsaws that day, and I guess they didn't know what we were going for. So it was pretty dead, and when it's dead in our zone, we would have fun with each other. One time we played fetch with a glow stick that Rob found on the ground. It was hilarious. He picked up a glow stick and would toss it at the feet of guests, and then I would go scare the guest and like try and finagle the glow stick between my plastic claws and then bring it back to him, and then he would throw it again. But
oh my god,
that's a tangent. So I was in tune with Rob enough where I was looking around, there was no one to scare, and then eyes lock with Rob, and he just goes, oh, starts running away. I'm like, oh, it's a chase scene. Let's go. And I start chasing him. I was like, and I chase him through the zone. And he hides behind a chainsaw, and that was going to be the end of the improv, right? Because my motivation is to eat this kid. His motivation is to run away from the wolf who's trying to eat him, right? How do we end this without me actually having to eat him? Like, what's going to defer me away? Ah, chainsaw. Wolves are afraid of chainsaw, right? That was the logic. He hides behind a chainsaw person. What they should have done, what we expected them to do, was like rev their engine a little bit, and then I go, ah, and run away, and that would be it. This poor person, bless her heart, just waved hello and then walked away, exposing Rob, who was hiding behind her. And we both have this moment of like, what do we do? Because you're right here. Like, I should pounce on you. What do we do? And so he hides behind this fern plant and behind 3 thin leaves. Like, there is no feasible way that he was hiding behind this leaf, just thin leaf. And he was just like, eh? And me catching on to what he's doing, I was like, where'd he go? And he left.
That's amazing.
Like,
I mean, what else are you supposed to do?
Like, how do we end this improv without awkwardly just being like, well, goodbye? You know? So he just hid behind like 3 leaves of this very thin plant. And I caught on to what he was doing. I was just like, where'd he go? Oh, gosh darn it. I lost his trail. And then I went back.
I want to know, as a guest the year before last year, what maze did you like the best? I'm just interested to know.
Ooh, okay. I don't like to play favorites. I don't like to play favorites because everyone is amazing, but I loved Killer Clowns. That was probably my favorite maze.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That made me fall. The one scare where they both came out through the like flaps, you know what I'm talking about? Oh, and then they came out at the end too, and I was like, this just needs to be over, please.
It's just so well done. Okay, the first time
really
I went through, I had not seen the movie, so I was going through like, oh, this is so hokey. Like, why did they do it like this? This is so stupid. Whatever. And I still had fun. You know, it was still like interesting and scary and everything. I was like, this is fun, but it's kind of campy. You know, like what's going on here? Then I saw the movie and I went, oh, they got everything perfect. What? And then I went through again.
Yeah, right.
I went through again a different day because I had a frequent fear pass, so I went like every week, you know, several times a week, see my friends, go through the mazes, all that fun stuff. But I wanted to support it as much as possible, and you know, I'm probably gonna scare the other year, so I wanted to reel in as much time as I could as a guest. So I went through again after having seen the movie, and I went, oh, this is perfect. They did such a good job with, like, oh, I recognize that from this scene, and oh, man. And my boyfriend actually worked on that maze as a light tech that year. That has nothing to do with it being my favorite maze. I'm totally unbiased. Like, that would have been my favorite maze regardless, but it was really interesting to hear his backstage thing. So, Clownzilla, at the end, it was this blackout scare. Someone would like drive it forward, and it's this big clown face at the end that would just like roar at you at the end, and it freaked me out. Of course, that's what it's there for. But my boyfriend, I went through with him one day when he was working, and part of his job was to frequently walk the maze and do this signal so that if anyone had a trigger, they would have to do the trigger so he knows it's working, right?
Yeah.
So he would stand behind me and go, just do it to her. Like, and so I would get got at every single point, and especially that Clownzilla part. And he tells me later that Clownzilla is the freakiest thing at night, even when it's off. He hates working with it because he'll have to go through, when the maze is done, all lights off, he has to do his double check to make sure all the lights are off. And just seeing that shadow in the darkness, knowing it's there, he's like, that thing is the creepiest thing, whether it's moving or not. I just hate it so much. That was the bane of his existence that year. It was just so nice.
That one was very scary. And it's interesting because a lot of people in that maze were pool all the time. Because, interesting fact, if you didn't know, you probably do though, because you're friends with everybody there. But it was really hard to get people in those specific costumes because the masks were so hard to breathe in that like my roommate and one of my best friends, he was in pool and he had to do killer clowns and he had a panic attack when he had the mask on in the house from like just like how big everything was and how small the room was. It just made a lot of people feel like very claustrophobic. And like a lot, they didn't have a lot of people that stayed in Killer Clowns, and nobody wanted to get put in Killer Clowns because they heard these horror stories about like how horrible the masks were to wear. So kudos to all the people that went through the whole thing of Killer Clowns or even did pool for Killer Clowns, because that maze was one of my favorites too. And I guess it was very, very difficult to be an actor in that maze.
Yeah, costumes in general is like a big thing that people don't tend to think about when they do scaring, because it's like the costumes people, amazing, amazing workers. They don't wear the costumes. They don't know how to function in those costumes. So you have, as an actor,
Yeah.
have to learn, first off, how can I move in this costume without harming myself? Secondly, how do I move in this costume without harming the costume? And how do I get the best scares with these limitations? If anyone tells you to scare in heels, say no. Do not scare in heels unless
No,
like
that sounds horrible.
I mean, I want to say unless you're standing still and you're just popping out like that, but standing there for hours
Or if they're
alone,
paying me double.
take what we say with a grain of salt. It definitely depends on the situation, but they tried to get one of my wolf girls in heels in the beginning of the run, because we were supposed to be sexy, you know, whatever. So they tried to put her in like go-go boots with a heel, and she immediately was like, that ain't gonna work for me. Are you kidding me? I have to move around. I'm like crawling sometimes. I'm not doing that in heels, especially because I'm working like 8+ hours a day in this, moving constantly. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that looks cool and that's the costume, but think about me moving in it. Like, that is gonna cause some serious
Yeah.
damage, especially if I twist an ankle. You're
You
out
would
an
need
actor.
longer breaks.
And like
It's like
really
I
good
like
insoles.
even in flats, I feel like I got hit by a. I feel like every day when I wake up and I'm like, oh my god, I have to go again. Like I'm excited to go there, but I'm like, I feel like I got ran over, backed up on, and thrown out a window. And now, like, and I didn't do anything. I had some scissors and went like this. But man, it's tiring,
That's a good point to
especially when
bring
you're
up.
into it.
Yeah, I mentioned this a lot. I call it scare actor fatigue. Like that first 2 weeks, especially when you start working, no matter where you are going to feel that fatigue. And we lose so many people those first couple weeks because of it. Like people are like, this isn't for me because I'm tired and I'm sore and oh, am I always going to be in this amount of pain? No, your body's just adjusting to the movement that you're not used to doing over and over and over again. You are very active. So be nice to yourself and
Yeah.
tiger bomb and get wrapped.
Also, the first like 2 weeks of the run, I feel like everyone is like they're playing with their movements still, but they're doing everything like, well, for me at least, I do everything like much more, I guess, sharp and hard than I need to. And then you're like, oh my god, if I do this, it's about endurance, lady. Like you can do that to one person, but there's no reason that you should be doing your full strength and being like, "Ah!" every like you're gonna die. No.
Like there's
Oh my
something to be
god.
said to
Do
that
you want to know something
dedication.
funny?
Yes, always.
So, my funniest fact about working in Us is that I had one really strong arm. And it still looks a little bit bigger because I had scissors and my whole movement was with right hand because you have the glove on and the glove is only for your right hand. Um,
Mm.
you could, they said like if you're tired, you can switch it. I'm like, no, that doesn't make any sense. I have to have the scissors in the hand with the glove. So did it all night. And this muscle, I don't know if it still is. This is
Oh
my
yeah. Oh
scaring
dang,
muscle I
girl.
had. And then this one was like, well, this one still looks better now, but like this one was like, and this one was, it was significant. Like I showed people and they were like, oh no, like that's actually really sick. I was like, yeah, I need to. So I had to start lifting with this arm only to try to even it out some because this one was, it was Like, I really wish that I had taken a photo because it just looked like two different people's arms.
That, I mean, I
So if you're
had that.
scaring and you have movement like that, you need to lift with this side, or else you're gonna look very lopsided as a human being.
That's good for so many things. I used to be a tennis player, so I had that one arm stronger. So I feel it. I used to joke with people. I'm like, can you tell which arm I is my dominant arm in tennis? So I would just hold up both arms. And they're like, that one, huh? Like, you
I
okay?
know, right?
Yeah. So I totally feel you, but that's interesting because I always tell
Isn't it
people like
ridiculous?
mix it up a bit because you're gonna get repetitive motion injury, but you couldn't because of the costume. Like you had to scare with this one hand because that was the hand with the glove, right? So how did you prevent
Exactly.
injury doing that same movement over and over again?
Well, we actually something that was really cool about us in general. Like I loved the people, the cast, everything was so great, and the Universal actually had the choreographers from the movie fly from New York to work with us on movement and everything.
Oh.
Mostly for the Reds and Adelaides because they had the most specific, very like sharp. Like if you've seen the movie Us, and if you haven't, check it out and check out their movement. It's very uh eerie and specific for the tethered. So they wanted to have someone come work with us to make the movement better and look like the movie. So when they came in, they actually told us like when we were working on movement, not all of the scissor like scares have to be like in the movie. There are different ones that you can choose. So we all came up with like a bunch of different ways to stab or whatever. And then we would show the scare coaches and we would show the choreographer, and they would pick a few different movements that we were able to do. So, we had like three that we each like were our movements, so we weren't all doing the same thing. But switching between those and using different muscles, like I had an over the head one and then I had an under one, you know what I mean? And then I had like a side one. So it was a different movement, and it was able to like if you were getting tired from like your favorite movement, you could always swap out with something else that was approved. It was really
That's good
scary
that you
because
had different working different muscles just to give that one a break.
I think that's what they were mostly worried about.
Yeah.
Because
That's a
my
serious
favorite
thing.
one was the Myers one, is what I did, and they don't really do that in Us, but they wanted it to be a bit more theatrical, and it's so quick, like that. I don't think that the movement itself isn't as important as like the movement that we're actually doing in the maze, and that's what they wanted to like be very adamant on.
Yeah.
And the girls did so
Thank you, Wolf
good.
Caller. Sorry, Wolf Caller was like, your mic is very low charge. I was like, oh, thank you. Sorry, just today. Okay, sorry. Continue.
No, you're good. No, yeah, the people that did Red and Adelaide, like huge shout out to them because like these actors they were so incredible, and they were like it was just crazy to see their movement and then watch the movie and then just like, oh my God, like they worked their butts off like for this role. And it really showed, like it really, really did. They were fantastic. I was so happy to be able to like be a part of such a cool maze.
That's awesome. I'm so happy for you. I hope we get to scare together this upcoming year. Who knows? Who knows?
Yes.
But if we could be Chainsaw Sisters, that would be dope.
That would be amazing.
We'd be so badass. Like, that's all I want. I want to intimidate people so bad.
Yeah. I wanted to do a scare zone this past year, but they booked us as one of the first mazes because I guess that Jordan Peele and the creative team had a say in who they were casting, probably mostly for the characters that were going to play lookalikes,
Of course.
not specifically like the random hands across America. But I was super excited about that because I was like, does that mean that he picked me to be a rando in the end? I thought that was just like so cool. But like the lookalikes were actually chosen, like they weren't like lookalikes, but like we had masks originally for the Reds, and we decided to not go with them anymore. There was a lot of accusations online that we were doing blackface and had white actors playing, and we didn't. We did not have any of that. But they decided that because people were thinking that, and because it's a person, that they were just gonna 86 the masks and do makeup for the characters instead. Just because, like, you know, we don't want to be affiliated with anything like that.
Yeah, don't give them any excuse because they're gonna try and look for that stuff anyway. Just like
And I think
pick
it
it
looked
apart.
better too.
Yeah, yeah. Rather than
To have the girls
being scared at by someone in a mask, it's like it feels more real if it's the look-alike person. My friend Monica actually won like Scareactor of the Year award from her role.
Oh, Monica, I know. Yeah, she was so
Yeah.
great.
She is awesome.
And Lupita came in and scared too.
Yeah. Yeah, she told me about that. I actually
she came in
interviewed
and
her
she was
a little bit.
scaring people.
Yeah.
was in
Monica
the
and
room
I
next
were
to them,
in
and
Monica was one of the like voodoo dolls in like the other half of my Scare Zone in 2018, so that's how we met. And then like we would chill backstage and everything and hang out after and whatever. And she even went to college with my boyfriend. It was just this weird mutual
that's
friend.
random.
Right? I was like, it was so funny because on one of my earliest dates with my boyfriend, we went to Universal, of course. And we go into Harry Potter World where Monica worked as a wizard. And at the same time, we see her and go, "Oh, hey, it's Monica. You know Monica?" Like, and then she sees both of us, and she's like, "Hey, how do you two know each other?" We're like, "We met online." And she's like, "How do I know both of you?" And I'm like, "I don't know." Like,
That's cute. That really happens at Universal though, doesn't it? Like, especially when you start to like know everyone. And then you just like,
it's so funny. Everyone
It's so
knows
cute.
everyone at Universal because we're all so awesome, you know? Like,
they do. And we had it was really cool this past year too. Like, Ariana Grande was like hanging out in our break area like all the time. And she took a photo. I think I don't know if Monica was in the maze during that. Because I was in the maze. But they were like, she like posted a photo of them and put it on her Instagram story. And then she kept coming to hang out with us. And I don't know why she did that, because she had a fear pass or whatever too, I'm assuming, or she's just very rich and came whenever she wanted. But she came all of the time, and then she would just sit in our break area and hang out. It was really weird, but it was cool.
Yeah.
And I'd just be like, "Hey," and she'd be like, "Hey," like she was a scare. I think she wants to be a character. I think we should ask her to do it next year.
hell yeah. Audition. Why not? That's what I tell
Right?
people is like, one of the most common questions I get is like, how do I become a scare actor? You audition. You look up haunts near you, just contact them, say, how do I scare for you? And most of the time you'll audition. Just do it. Even if you don't get cast,
It
at
really,
least
like-
then you have the experience of auditioning. You can try again next year.
A lot of the time too, if you go in there and you give it your all, they'll see that you did that, and they'll see your potential. And you don't even have to have that much experience. As long as you're really trying, I think they can even tell. Like, you know what I mean? And like sometimes there are like things beyond our control, but if something goes wrong, you can always ask for notes. That's something else I really like about Universal, is I feel comfortable enough to, you can message and say like, "Hey, is there a reason that I wasn't chosen? Is there something I could work on to do better next year?" And they can give you feedback, or maybe even offer you a pool position or something like that, you know?
Yeah, especially like reach out, especially a couple weeks after, because like I said, a lot of scare actors drop out after that time. So
Yeah.
you could reach out again and
It
say
could've
like,
just
"Hey,
been there was already
can I
enough
be pool
people
now?
that
If
size.
you're looking for someone, like let me know." Because you do not know why you wouldn't get cast. It could be just because you wouldn't fit the costume or something. Like it could be anything. I full on fell during my audition in 2018. And I was worried I wouldn't get cast because of it. But what happened was like I was scaring the cone. I was getting really into it. And then I tripped over my own foot on the last one. And I could have tumbled into the cone, but I didn't. I tumbled the other way. And then I just stood up and walked to the back of the line again. Just like...
That's incredible.
And then the person in front of me was like, "Did you just fall?" And I was like, "Yep."
Like, shut up. No,
What are you talking
it's my
about?
choreo.
No, I meant to do that. What's scarier than someone tumbling away from you? Like,
Right?
I was in the moment. I could have hurt myself. I could have hurt the guests, but I chose not to.
Yeah.
My pride, if I had it, would have been scarred. But I don't have any, so it's great. It's fine. Wolf Collar says, I learned in mazes with a little light, be careful to pay attention when turning around. I thought I turned 180 degrees to continue down the hallway. Turns out I only turned 90 degrees. I swiftly found the wall with my face. Oh, God.
Oh, man, that sounds really painful.
It is.
I have definitely ran into some walls, too.
Oh, absolutely. It's part of the initiation, I guess, when you're starting scaring, for sure. It's like bumping into everything. I bump into myself sometimes. I just whack myself in the face. It happens. But I've scared in the dark before, and it is tough to get the lay of the land. The longer you work in a specific room and everything stays where it should be, you're fine. But it does take a lot of practice, because you need to get used to knowing if you turned only 90 degrees versus 180, and you need to be able to predict where guests are moving, so that if you move in the dark to an inch in front of their face, you're not bumping into them, and you're not looking at something you shouldn't be. Example story. My friend and I used to work at something called the San Francisco Dungeon. Not that kind of dungeon. It's a live theatrical experience about San Francisco's dark history, and they would go, like, guests would go through room to room, be monologued at by characters like me, my friend. The first room was called Deliverance, and you're either Colonel Jack Gamble if you're a man, or Madame Jules Simone if you're a female. Well, my friend Ricky, keep in mind, he's very gay. This is important to the story for some reason. At this point in the year, it was around Halloween time, we were required to have a mask on, like, a stick, and we would, like, use it as a prop and move it around like that, and kind of incorporate it into the choreography and whatever. There is a point, though, when you say, you'll never know what'll happen in the dark. And at that point, you press on a trigger, and all the lights go pitch black dark. You cannot see in front of your face at all. But you're also on top of a stage area, so you need to be able to move down the steps in front of the wagon, in front of the stage, and at, like, if you can, an inch in front of a guest's face. And so when the lights come on, that's a jump scare, and then you act scared too, like, oh no. Anyway, and you just move along from that.
So cute.
And it's a lot of fun. But Ricky, so it's like 3 steps and then around. Ricky told us backstage, this is what was going on in his head. He's like, whenever you're doing the script, you're on autopilot. You're not really thinking about the words anymore if you've done it long enough. So instead, you're thinking, who's going to be my target? I need to count the steps. I need to memorize where the people are so that I could get this right. There's my target. I will walk this many steps right here when the lights come on. Great. He saw this woman, very well endowed, with her child. And so Ricky was like, I'm going to scare the kid. I'm so going to scare that kid. Okay, so, in the dark, things go pitch black. He goes down the stairs in front of the stage area. He gets down a little bit, has the mask on his face. He's like, I'm going to be so good. This kid's going to be so freaked out. Lights come on and just boops in his face. He was off by just a little bit, and he got the mom instead. And he just, like, takes the mask off and looks up at her and goes, anyway, moves away. And backstage, when he told us this, he was like,
I'm gay.
He was like, I don't even like boobs. I'm gay. Like, why did I do that? I didn't mean to. I was just off by that much. Oops.
That's amazing.
But yeah, you gotta be very careful in the dark. Not only because you don't want to hurt yourself or a guest, but you also don't want to make those kind of mistakes. Just like, boobs. Oh my god. But those are like some fun times. So I don't want to be disrespectful of your time. It's already 7:20. So we're a little over time.
Oh.
Do you have any other stories you want to share, or any advice you want to give before you do your self-promotion to close things out?
Well, I think like a lot of people wouldn't really consider like even like I mean I was afraid, I was so scared, and I feel like I don't know, if you go in with the mentality that you're going to enjoy, I mean, most people watching this probably enjoy it, but like spread this to your friends. Like, come and enjoy our performances and kind of like, you know, if you're going through and your friend is feeling scared, tell them to like clap and laugh because those are the people like, yeah, I'm going to go after them a bit, but I know that they're having a good time, so I'll probably won't mess with them anymore. If you're going to be a jerk, that's the kind of people that we're going to look at. If you're especially if you're like looking down and pretending like you're not scared, I'm gonna scare you. So I say, kind of keep an open mind about everything. Keep an open mind and a closed fist behind your back, and hold them together if you must, but do not punch an actor.
Don't do it. We hurt.
Don't do it. And I don't really know any. I mean, I have so many fun stories. Like, I think all of my best and funnest, I guess, if that's a word, stories and the best times I've had in LA, they've been at Universal with you guys, like with my best friends. And like, when you're there, you're like a real family. Like, everybody that walks past, you're like, hey, like, you don't know everyone. There's like thousands of people there, but it's just like a really, really great vibe. If you're thinking about doing it and you've been apprehensive or anything, and if you're not thinking about doing it, you should think about doing it because it is awesome. Like,
it's fun.
I had another job I was working at the same time, and I asked them for certain days off, and I work as a bartender. I make way more money there. And, you know, once you are making money and then you remember how fun that was, and you're like sacrificing like a lot of money, not, you know what I mean, like pretty significant amount of money. It's so worth it. Like, it really, really is. There's nothing more fun than going to a summer camp with your friends in October where you get to scare the bejeebers out of every human being possible, and you get paid.
Yep. I agree, because like a lot of people ask me like, you get paid for this? How much? Like, how do you pay your bills? It's like, I have another job. It does not pay the bills. We do it because we love it, and I do it because it is my therapy, and it makes me feel good.
Exactly.
And you make a lot of friends, and it's like you said, it's like a big family, and I 100% agree with that. I'm still really close with so many of my scare actors. When in 2018, when I was scaring, I was actually going through a really bad breakup, and that made me feel really good to scare and get it out of my system. And then after I was done scaring, I'm like, I'm over him. Wow. Okay, cool. So if you're ever going through a breakup, scare people to half to death, and you'll be fine. Is the moral of that story.
Scare people, even random people. Just dress up, drive your car, like that video. Did you see that video they posted?
No, what?
On the Scare If You Care page. They posted, so you guys should look this up. There's a video of a guy, and he's like driving around. I mean, I think it's people that do this in this like specific van, but he's like driving around, and he has a Michael Myers mask on, and he'll like be like driving, and then like look at a car, and he'll be like, and see what they do.
Oh,
and,
like, I know
they
what
have
you're
their
talking about.
reactions.
Yeah.
You should totally watch that video if you're missing scaring everyone and anyone that's watching, because it was a really funny video to watch.
I was so tempted during all this mess and stuff to record me scaring people randomly on City Walk. Like, I would get my fake wolf teeth or something and like do the makeup and prosthetics or whatever and just like hang out and then randomly like rah at someone and see what would happen. But I also didn't want to get in trouble for harassing people, so it didn't work out.
Yeah,
never did it.
Well, if you want to do it, I mean, maybe we get in trouble at Universal, but if you ever want to do it, like, I'd be down to help you film that, because that sounds very funny.
Yay. Let's do it.
Yay.
Oh, do you remember the random like killer clowns of, what was it, 2016, 2015, when was that, 2016? Like, there were accounts of all these clowns, like people just going out scaring with clowns.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you meant the maze.
No. Sorry, not killer clowns, the maze, but like in real life, like people would go and scare as clowns, and that was a fad for a while. And I still don't understand why it ever started and why it ended. Like, I never got it. But there was a time I had just moved to LA, and I've been scaring for several years already at that point, but I'm still like, I'm unfamiliar with stuff. I was at my local grocery store in this like refrigerated section where there's like Lunchables and then like processed meats and stuff, and I was like trying to look at stuff for lunch, you know? This kid comes up next to me, and I noticed something in my peripheral, because if you've been scaring as long as I have, you try and stay in tune with your surroundings, especially if you are a single woman in a city and there are people that you don't trust. So I was just like, peripheral, there's a kid next to me. That's not a normal face. What's going on? So I like slowly turn, and I see that he's wearing this clown mask, and I hear his friend in the aisle behind us like snickering like, oh my god. Oh my god, like that. And the kid just staring at me. I'm like, hey, sup? And he slowly reaches in front of him, grabs a Lunchable, and like points at it. I'm like, yeah, it's a Lunchable. Good job. And his kid, the kid behind us is just cracking up. And I swear, I was so tempted to ask him if he needed lessons on scaring people. I was so tempted to say, like, I'm a scare actor. I could give you tips if you're trying to scare people. But I didn't want to encourage what he was doing, so I was like,
yeah.
Okay, bye. It was the weirdest thing. But if we go into like a grocery store, if we're on the street or something, and I just pop out randomly, and I'm like, rah, see what I like, see if I can scare some people. I don't know, but you know, it'd be really creepy. Take a mask, rig it to drip blood every once in a while, and looking at someone, and then like have them be concerned if you're dripping blood, and then you take the mask off, and then have like the fake teeth and like so much gore right here, and you're just like, sorry. Just like that. And see how many people get freaked out.
Happens time to time.
No, tastes like iron. Oh, sorry about that. Oh, sorry, I sneezed. Just
They'd be like, you're sick.
I'm unwell. Ah. Or like
I knew this was gonna happen.
Get a fake eye or something, or pop in. I have a contact, like a zombified eye contact. So it'd just be like half of the face, like on this side I look really normal, and then the blood starts dripping, and then on this side I reveal the zombified half of my face or something. I don't know. We're talking ideas that'll probably never happen.
Like, is there something on my face?
Sorry, I lost a tooth.
And then just go.
Yeah.
Help me.
Help me. Oh my god, the little kid noises. I used to freak people out with the, you know, a very classic scary sound is a child, but like saying weird shit. So yeah. And the most common thing that you hear in haunts, which I am guilty of too, because it's a classic, you gotta say it, is come play with me, come play with me, and just shouting that at people. It's always fun because you can always get that one random person be like, okay, and you're like, no. Don't actually though.
Right, yeah, don't do that, please.
Has
anything, because I know we're not really like supposed to say anything.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Well, in the scare zones, I think it's different.
Oh yeah, I mean, scare
like
zones are
talking
different from
thing.
mazes. Oh no. We're not allowed to speak at Universal. Period.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about like when I was haunting at other haunts where I was allowed to speak.
Yeah.
So as a crazy clown character, my favorite thing to do would be find the clique of teenagers and intercept. So they would like be forming a circle. They always form a circle, right? I would inch my way in and pop up in the center. I'd be like, what are we talking about? Just like that. And because they're teenagers, a lot of the time they'd be like, we're talking about this. I'd be like, cool. Fill me in. I want to know. I want to know. Tell me. I want to know. I would just like freak them out that way.
That's awesome.
And I would always pick out one person to be my best friend. I would be like, I like you. I hate you. And like turn to someone else. Like there's always the best friend. There's always the enemy. I'm like, shut up and die. To like look at the other person.
That's
But
amazing.
seriously, you're amazing, but you suck. You know, and I would just go back and forth between the two. And a lot of the time I would freak out just one person. Or make best friends with a group, and then they would come through my zone again and be like, hey, and I'm like, hey, you go die though. And just look at that one person and be like, I hate you. But they would laugh. So always,
Yeah.
I guess my point is, if I'm looking for advice in this random story that I am telling that had no real purpose, but I'm finding it, is find the game. Always find the game. Especially if you're in a scare zone.
Yeah, just like improv.
You need to improv if you, you need to improv no matter where you are. But if you're in a scare zone, it's really important that you know how to improv. Stay in character, find the game. I can't tell you how many times.
And pass the ball.
Pass the ball. Yeah, it's not all about you, you know, pass it to someone else every once in a while. I loved revenge scares. That was my game I would play. I would have the revenge scare. Because there's always those guys trying to hit on my half-transformed wolves, and I was the full-transformed wolf. And then they'd be like, call me, and not know for some reason that I'm around. I'm a big werewolf. Some reason they don't see me, but I would sneak up behind them and get that revenge scare for my girl. We would do like a little high five, like,
Yeah.
looking out for your fellow girls.
These are my babies.
These are my cubs. Don't mess with them. But yeah.
So sorry.
Any other advice you would like to give to potential future scarers before we call it a day, or self-promote?
I say watch this channel. Watch this channel and you'll learn a lot more.
Oh, thank you.
That's my advice.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, my advice is just do it. If you want to do it, if you're thinking about doing it, you should just audition and try to do it, because I don't. And I mean, like, another good thing is it's seasonal. So, like, there's a beginning, there's an end. And if you don't like it, you can always just not do it again.
True. Absolutely
that
true.
Easy.
Like, if there is something about what we're talking about that resonates with you in some way, you're just like, that sounds like a fun gig. Just audition and see what happens. If you don't get it, you'll learn more for next year if you want to audition again. If you get it and then it's not for you, at least then you know. But maybe it is for you, and then you scare for years and years and learn a lot, and you'll be a professional, and then you'll be teaching people, because I don't know what I'm talking about. I mean, I know what I'm talking about. I'm not saying I don't, but I'm limited to my own experiences, so yeah. It's not like you could go to school for this. That's another common question I get, is like, do you go to college for this? Do you go to school for this? Like, do you take scare acting classes? It's like, that's not really a thing. As you just kind of do it and learn from other people, and like learn from doing, and learn from me and my channel. There we go.
Most importantly.
That's the important thing. Would you like to promote your social media?
So yeah, I do, but I think that there might be something more interesting for the people that be watching this specific channel. Please feel free on YouTube if you guys do like horror stuff. I'm in a fan film. It's called Tiffany and Chucky. There's 3 parts of it. I play Tiffany. It's supposed to be the story about, like, kind of when they met, with Tiffany as the lead actress instead of Chucky being the lead. She, like, more so has, like, I guess, the wheel. And you can find that on YouTube. It's going to be under Blinky Productions. There's also another one where I play a crazy clown called Mimsy. That's a lot of fun. They have a lot of other great fan films if you're into that kind of thing. Doing a horror film. We actually, because of the mess, had to reschedule. We were supposed to be shooting a couple weeks. We're going to shoot in July now, but please follow me on Instagram or, anything like that to find out when this production, I think it's going to be in July or August when we're filming, but it's called The Paradise Motel, and it's a horror film. I'm not going to tell you who's murdering, but if you watch the other things, you'll probably get a good idea of who usually murders who. And yeah, I am going to start a Twitch channel pretty soon, and I'll be playing Dead by Daylight, so if you guys want to see me get scared and or kill people as Michael Myers, my favorite, feel free to follow me on Twitch or Instagram and find out when I'm going to be streaming and nerding around.
And if you ever want to play together, let me know. I have the game. I just never played it.
Yeah. Oh my God. I am on it quite too often. I pretty much gave up all my other games for that. So
Alrighty.
it's addictive.
That
It's addictive.
That's what I've heard. Yeah, and I'm down. I'm down. Let's play some horror games and see Scareactors get scared.
It's great.
Yeah.
And it's cross-platform, so that's the best thing is like
Oh, perfect.
you can pretty much play it. Yeah, you can play it with like anyone. I play with my best friend in New York. She got me hooked on it, and she's on PC. I play on Xbox, and then we have another person who plays on Nintendo Switch. Like it's on everything.
That's pretty awesome. That is.
Yeah, we
that's
should
really
totally play. Like it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, hit me up sometime. I'll let you know. I usually stream my horror stuff on Wednesdays. I usually play Phasmophobia. So if you're ever interested in playing Phasmophobia, let me know. We usually need a fourth person. It'll be like a random fourth person each week. But maybe one night, and if I feel like playing Dead by Daylight, I'd hit you up and say, hey, you want to play? Let's stream it.
Add me and you'll find every time you log on, I'm probably also on.
Love
it. It's a problem.
Hey, it's more of a solution. It's healthier than a lot of other things you could be doing during the mess.
The mess.
I almost slipped and said something else, but it's the mess.
Yeah, me too. But exactly, I didn't game at all before the mess, and now it's funny because I saw on your channel that you do Skyrim, and that is so I bought at the beginning of the mess. I bought a new TV because I was like, well, we're gonna be in here, and this is gonna be our life. Mm-hmm. So I bought a new TV, and I bought it because I got my boyfriend's Skyrim for his birthday. And I got it on the Switch originally, which it sucks on the Switch because the like little knobs they don't work. So I ended up buying an Xbox and then getting it on the Xbox. So Skyrim is the thing that got me addicted to gaming.
I'm not surprised. It's very fun. Yeah, I let my
play with mods.
I haven't played with mods yet because it's my first playthrough, so I want to know what it's like first, and then maybe add mods later if I really wanted to. But I let my D&D dice make all the decisions for me. It started off with
nice.
Character creation. The reason my character looks the way she does is purely because I rolled the dice and that was what I got. So, and like,
that's amazing.
Do I kill this person or let them live? Dice? Okay. That way I'm not morally responsible for any of these decisions.
Well, just so you know, mod-wise, like, they do have mods that I use that aren't, like, necessarily detrimental to the game at all. Like, there's a mod that I have that just has a better map, and you can actually see, like, some of the, like, where the mountains and stuff are. You can just tell where everything is a lot better. And then I have, like, another mod that makes the sky prettier. You know what I mean? It doesn't do it. It just makes the sky look nicer. And then I have another mod that makes all of the glass armor pink, so it doesn't really mess the gameplay, but it's all pink. So.
Love that. Okay, I'll look up some of those mods then, see what I can do, because that's
they're
fun.
Just like better quality. Like there's like new quality mods that you can use that don't really mess with the game. They just kind of make it look better.
Right. Okay, maybe I'll look into that then. I like that. Yeah. I've seen a video before of like a Thomas the Tank Engine mod where the dragons are Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yeah, I saw that too. That's horrifying. That's scarier than the dragons.
Oh, I'm freaked out by the dragons. I've killed 2, 3 now. 3? I've killed 3. And the first time obviously is part of the game, like they instruct you on like how to kill the dragon and everything, and that's when you realize you're dragonborn and whatever. But the second one came out of nowhere, and I was like, this is a fluke. This is a fluke. It's not here. Oh, now I'm on fire. Great. Okay, now I gotta kill you. Cool. And I freaked out. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm new. I
finally killed Alduin. I'm very excited about it.
Oh, is that a dragon?
Because on this playthrough, I decided to actually do the main mission, because I always am like, let's go to the college and be magic. But this time I was like, let's just try to focus, stay out of Solstheim. I went to Solstheim for my first playthrough for like days. Like I was just I was like, why am I in Solstheim? But it kept telling me to do stuff, and I felt like I needed to follow like what order it was in. You know what I mean?
Right. I'm picking and choosing.
So I was like, I'm just gonna focus on like gameplay.
Right. I'm like trying to do certain quests that look fun so that I'm accomplishing something every stream, but sometimes that's not the case. I'm in Whiterun a lot. I'm like trying to buy a house because I'll kill a dragon and then I'm over encumbered by all the bones and scales and stuff. It's like I just need to get a house for storage. So that's the main thing I'm focusing on right now.
I would recommend looking in Falkreath if you do magic. They have a lot of, or alchemy, because they have a lot of really cool areas there. Well, the area that they have has like a lot of like stuff you can pick, and it's like by this cute little town. I think you just have to go like kill a giant for the Jarl or something.
Okay.
I don't know specifically. I don't play this game a lot, but
like I said, it's my first playthrough, so I don't know.
House. Well, if you buy the house in Whiterun, it is nice, but you can build your own house. And I recommend saving up to do that because I can't get Lydia to leave my Whiterun house and go to my house that I bought somewhere else, like Dawnstar. And like, she could stay at that house. And then on my one playthrough, I had like, there was like a bard there playing music when I got home. And there was like a horse carriage and like Lydia was there and she's like, hello, welcome home. But like, I cannot figure. I'm like, can you go to this house? Can you follow me? She's like, you already have a follower. And I'm like, okay, you stay here. Can you follow me? She's like, no, you have one. I'm like, can you go to that house, please? I don't want to live in this house. So my kid lives alone somewhere, and then Lydia lives somewhere else. Highly recommend saving up for like a good house. You know what I mean?
Okay, gotcha. Because it's like hard to switch. Gotcha.
I don't know how to get her to leave that house. I don't know how.
That seems like a fluke in the game.
Anyone knows? Message me.
Yes, yeah. If anyone knows the answer, please let us know. How does she get Lydia out?
I have to watch Skyrim. I'm excited.
I don't know. I mean, some people really like it. Me, I'm just nervous because it's like I've never played this game. I used to watch my brother play it.
That's why I have to watch it.
Okay. I mean, it's there. You can watch whatever you want, but everyone follow her.
Excited.
Follow her on Twitch. You haven't made the Twitch yet?
I have the account. It's just pretty empty right now. But don't worry, we'll fill it up soon.
Okay, check her socials. I put it underneath her. Follow Llenelle and all the stuff. There's Instagram and Twitch right there. Definitely follow on Instagram if you want to hear about other stuff that she's filming. If you want to ask her like Scareactor stuff too, that I'm sure that's okay. And Twitch, follow her on Twitch, especially if you like Dead by Daylight, and we might play together. So look forward to that. I don't know. It depends on my schedule.
Me too.
Yeah. Llenelle, don't go anywhere. I'm going to end the stream for everyone else first, and I'll give you a more proper goodbye, so don't hang up quite yet. But for everyone else, thank you so much for joining me during this interview with the lovely Llenelle. Hopefully you learned some more stuff about scare acting and enjoyed our stories. Join us next week. Well, join me next week. I'll have another guest next week. Saturday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I go live for Scareactor Stories. So especially if you're interested in scare acting, this is a great way to ask your questions, hear some fun stories and everything. Follow on Instagram and Discord for any stream updates and life updates, I guess. Those are the two main important ones. Also follow on YouTube. I upload my streams to YouTube eventually. Thank you for joining. Thanks for joining, everyone. Follow here on Twitch, TikTok. I'll be telling Scareactor Stories again on there soon. Just gotta find the time to do it. Instagram, Discord, YouTube. Those are the main ones. Follow Llenelle, like I said, and have a good night, everybody. Thanks for joining. You're all awesome. Goodbye.